As students prepare to get back in the classroom in just a few weeks, some parents are beginning to wonder how they'll pay for their child's lunches. 23 News reporter Jake Pearson talks to an area leader and a retired teacher about how a bill sitting on the governor's desk could help families put food on the table.
The Healthy School Meals for All program provides free breakfast and lunch to K through 12 students across the state, passing through the Illinois House of Representatives by a vote of 88 to 24. But until Governor Pritzker signs the bill into law, nothing is guaranteed.
Let's get this moving because our students matter.
The clock is ticking as state line parents wonder when Governor Pritzker will sign the Healthy School Meals for All program into law. Senator Steve Stottleman says he thinks hungry bellies cause unhungry minds.
Rockford schools have a lot of low-income students, and again, if they don't have access to meals, if they're coming to school hungry, that's going to hurt the learning environment. They're not going to succeed.
During the pandemic, students were provided free school lunches through federal waivers. One Rockford woman says that should never have changed.
When we're talking about K through 12, it's always situations within families where they don't have enough food at home.
Rhonda Greer Robinson is a retired teacher. She has seen the effects hunger can leave on learning.
It will make our students better learners. Their comprehension skills will go up, their moods will be better, their behaviors will improve. This will make education stronger and healthier.
Saying it's only a matter of time until it is signed into law, Senator Stottleman believes struggling families won't have to worry about making ends meet for school meals.
And I don't think the fact that this bill was approved, 36 days ago and it's not been signed yet, that's a red flag at all. I think it's just a matter of the process of going through the procedures of making sure a bill gets through the system and gets signed.
Rockford Public Schools already provide free meals to students who need it, but other state-line schools do not. If the bill is signed into law, schools will provide the meals and then apply for reimbursement through the state.
According to Illinois state law, if Governor Pritzker chooses to do nothing with the bill, it will automatically become law after 60 days, which will be August 14th.